please. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to thank everyone. We have a brief agenda tonight. It shouldn't take too long. I'd like to, from my report, I'd like to say that rarely do you get a second chance to do something, and that's what we have tonight. We're going to pass the 7/8 cent sales tax increase for the purpose of repaving streets in Herman. Going to put it on the ballot anyway. We're going to prove that, and we believe this is a very viable way to do it. Some of the advantages of it are that upon passage by the people on the 6th of August, we will not have to have bonding. There won't be any bond to record on the city's books to carry. There won't be any bond payments to make, and there won't be any interest to pay. It can be stopped at any time by the Board of Aldermen. We will vote tonight on the sunset, and I think that that's part of it now anyway, unless we take it out. And it's just an overall good way to do this. $100 purchase would end up costing an extra 88 cents. So, and it would be on sale, so anybody coming to Herman buying anything, including people that come here to shop, or tourists, or anyone like that, will pay their fair share too. So the burden is not just on the city, the people that live here. So it's a little bit for everyone to pay, and we think it's a good plan. I think it's fair, and we will be having a workshop. We'll set the dates on that so everybody can come and learn. The streets that have been designated as Phase 1 and the maps that show where the water and the high traffic volume is are unchanged, so we can have those maps ready. Basically, this will raise $450,000 a year in revenue, and that's enough for us to pave the streets. If we end up paving them before 18 years or 20, whatever our sunset turns out to be, we'll stop. And that requires a simple Board of Aldermen vote, and it ends the tax and so on. So it's a very simple idea. It allows us to do what we need to do, and it gets the people to pay that use our streets that maybe are not property owners like they were before. So that's basically what I wanted to talk about. I think that the aldermen can talk about it, and I think that we're still restrained in being able to tell you to go vote for it, but I think we can certainly tell you the benefits of it, and that's where we stand at this point. I did ask Mark to tell us a little bit about emergency procedures that he's been working on and what it means in the event of this flood. Mark?
Okay. On that note, we have met with all the city public works departments, getting the barricades ready. We've talked to MoDOT, both north and south of the river. We have permission to stop truck traffic coming into town and using our side streets for their route. Only in an emergency can they do that. Also, the ladies in the front office had to call all the campers. I think we had a full camping schedule for the park this year, or this weekend, so we had to contact those people and make arrangements for them to come another time. Also, the high water has caused us to postpone the opening of the city pool. We had to pull the pump out of the pool, so that's postponed again. On a different note, I'm happy to announce that the city received a grant from the Missouri Department of Natural Resources for an engineering study of our drinking water system. I will be working on a request for proposals to select an engineering firm to assist in the project. And that's just about it. Like I said, I think Tammy's working on some social media for the people to see and understand how we're handling this water, and that Herman is open and there are ways to get through town, and the venues will be available for everybody, so we hope that they still show up and spend Memorial Day weekend in Herman.
Is that it?
Yep.
Okay, we have an ordinance next, and if you want to read that, we'll have one reading on that, and before we discuss it, after Sean reads it, I will, and you might wonder why Dave Police is not Dave Police, even though it says that he is. This is his partner, Sean, and he's here to fill in for Dave, and so, Sean.
All right. Ordinance number 2146, bill number 2019-21, an ordinance imposing a general sales tax in Herman, Missouri, and providing for such ordinance to be submitted to the qualified voters of the city.
Okay, this ordinance has a sunset provision, and the sunset says 18 years. Is 18 years okay, or do you want to change that to something else? Not before we get into it, let's decide that.
Is everybody comfortable with 18 years?
I am, because of the fact we don't have to use all 18 years.
Well, I'm just worried that, costs go up. I don't want to run out of money before this is over. I wasn't so sure that 20 would be a better idea. I'm not locked in on that. I'm just offering a slight suggestion here. Depends on what you guys think.
Is there any discussion of that, other discussion?
If you guys don't agree with it, that's fine. We can stay with 18.
The original time frame was 18 years also, right, with the...
It was 20,
It was 20.
but we can raise as much money in 18 years as we were gonna actually raise in 20 years.
At current rates.
And at current rates, same money. So
Mhm.
if we were starting a bond issue now, we would raise 8.1 million in 20 years, and it would take that last draw of about 1.6 million at year 20, which means we wouldn't pay it off, wouldn't have paid it off until 23 or 24 years. In this case, if you make it 18, this is a tax, so there's no bond there. When it stops, and in 18 years, we'll get 8.1 million, and that's why it's 18, but you can make it whatever you want.
Well, and that's if we get sales tax every year. What if something happens to the economy and our sales tax, we don't collect as much?
That could happen, or it could be more.
And if we
just
get
a-
more, we can always stop it.
Right,
I mean,
as
that
long as
doesn't
we can
change.
stop it. I mean, if we get done and can stop it.
But to get so close to the end and run out, I just thought maybe 20 years might be a little better option.
I think it either needs to be 15 or 18. But listening to the advisement that we got from Joey the last meeting or so,
Well, I wouldn't want to go less than, I wouldn't
understand.
want to go less than 18.
So I don't think we should do 20.
Okay.
Okay, so if we're gonna leave it at 18, then is there any further discussion of this on any other points of it that you've read? Anyone? No? Then may I have a motion?
I move Bill 2019-21 first read.
I'll second.
We have a motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. We will have a second reading on that tomorrow at 9. Now we move to the next one.
Brian?
I just want to make a quick comment on the increase in sales tax and everything. If you look back when 2008, 2009, it went down a little bit, not very much, but in the last 10 years, it's grown by 20%, 2% a year. So that gives you an idea,
I hope it does. I truly hope it does.
just to give you an idea what it's done historically.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. The next one is the ordinance to revise the electric rates, and I'll let Sean read that one.
Bill number 2019-22, an ordinance to revise Herman Municipal Code, Section 720.210, electric rates.
Let me explain something here in case you don't understand, but my feeling here is that this is not going to pass. And there are several ways to register a defeat for a bill like this. The first way would be not to make a motion at all. It would then die for lack of a motion. The next way would be if a motion is made, there's no second, in which case it dies for lack of a second. And then if we get that far, there'll be a special instructions that I'll give you then. But do we have a motion? Do we have a motion on this? Okay, there being no motion, this ordinance is declared dead. Okay, old business.
I do. I'm under old business because we have discussed it since I've been an alderman. It's been a while. Mark referred to the 69 lines a little earlier this evening. That's the line that runs from the bridge. Does that run to the transformer, or does it run all the way to the river crossing?
It runs from the river crossing.
Okay, now I counted those poles, and I probably missed a couple because of going over Colomar's Bluff, it's a little difficult to count them, but I counted 40 poles. Now last year, we had a storm take down 2 of those poles. I think the bill for that was right at $85,000. This was very heavily on my mind last night when that storm came up. 10 of those poles would probably cost us $500,000 today. I think it's time for Central Electric to take ownership of that line. We have discussed it in the past, but we never went anywhere forward with that. We do not have the equipment to work on those big poles. I mean, anytime something goes down, we have to hire people. I mean, our equipment just simply won't do it. It's not that our guys don't want to do it. You think our equipment's expensive, the equipment that it takes to work on those, it's out of our reach completely. I am suggesting, it was suggested in the past, and then we just never, I don't know why we never moved forward with it.
I'll tell you when you get.
Okay, but I honestly, it scares our electric guys, and it scares me if those poles go down. I mean, some of those are right in our downtown area. They need better maintenance than what our guys, they just can't get to them, guys, they're too high.
It's always been that we've always considered the ownership of those poles as a trade-off with Central Electric to allow us to bring fiber optics across the river, which we gave away years ago. So since that's not important anymore, and we already have fiber optics done, and by the way, they're going to start
June 1st, I think.
June 1st, they'll start. So it's right here to start the construction. We probably can consider that. And one thing I would suggest is, before we give them away, that we consider what it would cost them if we had a contract for maintenance. So we have something to balance it against the numbers.
Oh, that's fine, but
Yeah,
I think
but other
it
than
should
that-
seriously be looked at before we have a tornado or a big windstorm.
Well,
Take
those-
half those poles up.
Those to back what Dave said, those things are very vulnerable sitting up on that hill like that. And they're not shielded in any way. So I would say if we can, Mark, maybe you and Jesse, and
Sure.
we'll look at that. And Jesse, I know, will be in favor of it.
Yes.
Because he's wanted to do it all along. But we've wanted that as kind of trade material to get across the river. We don't need that anymore.
Thank you.
Any other old business?
Only one, just because I said I was going to bring it up every meeting, and that's the enforcement officer. I know we're moving forward with it. We've
I can answer that.
advertised for it, and
No, the enforcement officer has been, the job description has been given to Marlin to review. And Marlon is, as far as I know, he's looking at it now. I gave him, he has both copies, but the one he's working on is Susan's copy, which she looked at and amended and so forth. What I asked him to do was make a list of things that are included in there that he thinks would be better served by his department. And then a list of things that he thinks that should be done by the enforcement officer. We worked on it. I think at the next meeting probably should be an alderman and well, certainly Susan and Mark. And then we'll just see where it goes. It's coming along.
Okay, cool.
I got a couple other old businesses here
All right.
too. I was gonna follow up with the nuisance letters. We turned those in, and the list, I was wondering who got those and who hasn't, and when they were, where we at in the status of the,
I have to talk to Marlon about that. I gave him, we had a list. I know he's talked to a few. Then as far as the properties that we had designated for demolition, those are turned over to Dave. He's done some research, and I sent him the letters that we had written here for his review before we send those out. I have not heard back from him yet.
so by next regular scheduled meeting, not tomorrow,
Yeah,
can
sure,
we see where we're at on this list,
Yep.
just as a follow-up?
sure.
Sure, that's how we get stuff done. That's a good
You
idea.
know, the 200 block of West Fifth Street. It's a list,
Right.
I gave you a list
Right.
and handed them out.
And Marlon is not here, I think, because I would ask him about the business license effort to get everybody's business license.
I can give you kind of an update.
Okay.
I think we're down to 4 or 5 just this
Half
week.
of them then we
Yes.
That's good. So keep up the good work. That's, it is May 22nd, not January 1st. And so, you know, it's not like this was sprung on them. But anyway,
They were warned.
any other old business?
I was gonna ask Mark, and I requested a stop sign for north and southbound traffic on Washington at the intersection of Stark Boulevard and West 11. I was just following up to see what the progress were. I believe we
It's-
could have 90-day trial on it.
Right, right. And Todd has been very busy with lots of other things right now. And as soon as we get past this flood preparation and manning these streets over the next week or so, we will stick those in the ground. The one calls have been done, and I believe we have everything ready to go.
And thank you to us, either been painting some of the curbs and making Herman pretty again, and that all helps. They did a good job.
Okay.
Did you use waterproof paint on Gutenberg?
I don't know, I wasn't there.
Anything else? I have one item and you're finished. I have an item, we have had Jeff Yielding has called several times about truck noise coming down the 19 north by Seatop. And that hill is about 5/8 of a mile, it might be actually longer than the very top. And the trucks that come down in the middle of the night use their engine brakes, and I have had several people ask me what we can do about that. So I talked with MoDOT, and we can put signs up that say, city ordinance, city noise ordinance enforced, reduce, or, you know, minimize engine braking. And anyway, we don't have an ordinance, so we'll have to work on that.
Well, to be fair, and I'm not defending anybody, but the damn speed limit drops to 55 right at the top of the hill. I mean, if they're doing 55 at the top of that hill, asking them to slow down coming down that hill for those trucks, it's very
Well,
difficult.
we need to change that too.
You move it back to 45 miles per hour back by the roadside park where they have to come up that little grade and can slow. It'd be a lot easier for them to slow down, but I think we've made this request in the past and MoDOT was not in favor of doing that.
Well, MoDOT's okay now.
At the gun club, actually, because they got the.
That big turn, it wouldn't hurt anything there
I
either.
talked to Preston Kramer twice on this, and Mark's talked to him. And we need an ordinance, then he'll print up signs. We can change the speed limit, they'll have to get one of their crews out here to do some evaluation and determine where to put the reduce speed, but I think that's important.
Well, it was bad before, but since the Eichmann, the senior center's up there.
Yeah.
You have an old person pulling out, and I'm sorry, I'm not being mean, I'm getting old myself, but they don't drive very fast. And you pull out in front of a log truck doing 55 miles an hour,
Well, that would
someone's
help,
going to
certainly.
die. And it,
Sequay on what Davis talked about, it different, but it's gonna come in there on Highway 100 from west, coming into town past Village.
that needs to be lowered there.
That needs to probably go out a quarter mile or whatever we can, drop it to 45. We've had one fatality there.
And that's, MoDOT does know about that. I haven't checked to see what their research shows or where they stand on that, but I will.
Well, we haven't been able to do it because we don't own the property on both sides of the highway. That
Well,
was 6 years
MoDOT
before.
knows about it.
But if we go back to
Then ask-
Victorian Manor, on the other side of that turn, it would slow it down.
Yeah, that's too fast.
So if we're gonna ask them about one, let's get two at one time.
Well, there's three. Coming down the hill past the firehouse, going south on 19, coming across the bridge and then using their engine brakes coming down that hill. There's a lot of people that live right in there, and they, so when
That
we
little
get,
corridor, I bet that's loud right there.
it is.
I thought we had
There
a
is, it used
sign
to
up
say
there.
engine brake use discouraged.
Yeah, but that's an illegal sign. I told him about that.
Well, it
He
doesn't
said,
say you can't, we just said you don't want you to, yeah.
Well, it's their street, so I know their road. But we can put this sign up, and we've asked to reduce speed in there too. They don't, so we're looking at all that. We can report back on that. Okay, is that all the old business? Do we have any new business?
I do. Had a request from a citizen, I said something to Tricia. It's Mike Fleege, I think, F-L-E-E-G-E. He lives on Jefferson Street off of 16th. I think it's the old Engelman House. Anyhow, he's installing our new windows, but he wanted to know if the city had any interest with the vacated portion of 15th Street. It would be on the west side of Jefferson as you come down Stonehill Highway.
Is that run right below that substation?
Correct.
Okay.
Mike's been cutting it and taking care of it, and then if the city would like to, it is vacated, to turn it over to him or whatever.
Is it vacated?
I don't know.
We'll have to find out.
We'll
if we
find
don't-
out, that's easy.
Find out if his utility easements run through there
Sure.
or anything. or-
I can-
Yeah, generally speaking, I think it's a bad idea to vacate streets and.
I told him I'd ask.
Yeah, because we end up with somebody else there wants one and somebody wants this. And
I'm pretty sure we got utility lines buried up.
Well, we'll check it out and report back.
And we can always, keep the easements right to, if you ever continue that
Right.
street.
Well, we got into it last year somewhere else and I can, but anyway, we'll look into it, we'll check into it.
Is this west of the old shoe
Sure.
factory?
Correct.
Okay.
The two-story brick house, which used to sit on the other side of the shoe factory. When it was built, they moved it back there. But Mike Leahy, really, really nice guy, moved down from Chicago.
He's living there now?
Mhm.
They got a red umbrella on the porch. I've never seen anybody on that porch my entire life, and I just noticed that day there was no red umbrella out there.
Okay, next.
So, request of a citizen that if we could put some dead-end street signs at the base and the end of West 6th Street in Jefferson. Evidently, and some of it's probably driver error, but been several motorcycles thinking that street will take them up to Herman on the Hill or Stone
Well, if they
Hill.
hit it fast enough, it will.
In this gravel, they end up sliding their motorcycles, and actually it was Dylan Pine and Frank Tobin
Yeah.
that talked about it, or they had to help the people get their bikes up, and they suggested if we could put dead-end signs down below, maybe to help them.
That's, where's that 6th and,
West 6th and
Oh, it dead ends pretty rapidly up at the top of that hill, you know.
okay. Next.
I'll skip down one. I sent Mark a message on this. Frank Tobin had mentioned that the water plumbing
Yes.
at the airport was
And-
not functioning.
Gary Geisler and I talked about it. We've talked to Brian Grandeman several times, and he has forgotten about it. Talked to Gary today, I talked to Brian today, he's got it on his schedule now.
I
Well, there'll be
missed what the
plenty of
issue
water.
was. What about water?
The water was not working at the airport.
Aren't they gonna get a lot of water soon?
Yeah, they'll have plenty shortly.
It's the type that they would like to
Oh.
drink and use the facilities on. And then I received a question from a citizen, registered voter citizen. His concerns was about trolleys operating in residential areas, loud music and the consumption of alcoholic beverages.
I've been doing this 4 years, it's your turn.
My return to him was, these are streets and highways of the city of Herman within the state of Missouri. The vehicles are property licensed and they're being operated by property licensed CDL operators. I don't think we could refrain them from driving on the street.
No, you're right. And assuming they do have the proper licensing and inspections and so forth, they're entitled to drive those in the street. Drinking on the trolley is strictly prohibited again by ordinance in the city of Herman. And we are working on an ordinance that Dave is working on. He should have a version of it by the next meeting. I first want to talk to Kevin Sanderlin and the other operators about it. We've been talking about this for a year, or 6 months anyway. And so hopefully that will be resolved to everybody's satisfaction.
Another thing he brought up was that they're dropping and picking up customers up St. Stark Boulevard and 10th Street. That's what they may be, being
Well-
guest houses and.
The ordinance says that they can only drop, Dave, look at him, he can score it, he's just doing all the words. Can only pick up and drop off at a trolley stop or a bus stop sign. They can't just do it anywhere. And we are gonna work with him on either changing the locations, that's how they got it. We put him where he wanted them, but he said his business has changed in the last couple of years. Or amending that so that it's acceptable to him. We want him to be able to run his business and haul the people and so forth, as well as, he can. So we're not trying to hinder it.
And that's all I had. Fortunate.
Okay, is there anyone else?
I'll save mine for next time.
Sure.
I'm positive.
Okay.
That's not a big deal right now.
Okay,
Flooding is more of a deal, so.
okay. Trish, is there citizens' comments or anything?
I have a question.
Oh, sure.
Can I talk about the ordinance, electric rates? There was no discussion.
It's,
Usually you can talk when you're taking up a bill.
if you want to discuss it, go right ahead.
I just wanted to make a couple comments on the electric rate bill that was not moved on tonight. I'm on the Utility Advisor Board, and we had voted to recommend this ordinance to the Board of Aldermen, and I just wanted to express my support for it, and that it's not, the discussion, I guess, comes down to whether or not we can either afford this in the electric department, or if we want to do that. I think it's a positive thing. I don't think there's anything negative with doing this. We have a decent amount of reserves in the electric department. The amount we're talking about is about $70,000 a year, which isn't going to make or break our electric department. I know Jesse was against it, but if you look at the money that's there in the electric department, we can do both of these, which is set money aside for improvements and for a rainy day, but also give rate relief. I think this would be a positive rate relief for the citizens and the businesses that live here, that are in the city limits, that are customers of the electric department. If this sales tax passes, it'll be a minimal increase on your sales tax for your utilities, but I think it's a goodwill effort and a good gesture to give this rate relief to those customers. So I just wanted to express my support for this, and I'm a little disappointed that nobody stood up to even propose it tonight.
Well, it was proposed, Brian, and thank you, I appreciate that. And I have to say that, and everybody up here knows that I support it too. But I don't vote, I don't get to make a motion, I can't make a second. And the feeling that this has been discussed, I'm sure, ad nauseum, and there's both two sides to this, and I can see both sides. I would like to see it, I wanted it, but I was that's not my position. The Board of Aldermen make those decisions, and that's just what happened.
Well, I would like to see a discussion of it at least, instead of just pushing it off the side, off the agenda.
Well,
I mean, for all four of you to just sit there silent, I mean, if it was me, I'd bring up the discussion and talk about it and say why I was against it or why I was for it.
well, okay. I appreciate that. We have no discussion at this point. If we want to open it back up, we have defeated it, so
It's
we
dead.
could discuss it. It's dead now. And this has been, Jess, you were at the meeting. Like I said, I'm for it. But only, it was 3-2 in favor, and the aldermen are not in favor of it. And I don't think there's one single alderman up here that's actually in favor of it. So if there was one, there would have been a motion made. And if there were two, it would have been a second. And there isn't really,
Well, I'd just like to see the sales tax passed, and I would also like to see some rate relief for those customers who are going to have an increase in their electricity because of the sales tax.
and I agree with that. I am in favor of it. But I'm the mayor. I don't vote on this, and I don't make motions, and I don't second motions. You know that. And at this point in time, if it's going to be, it's been discussed. If you want,
It hasn't been discussed here in
well,
public.
let me finish. If you want to open it back up and we can have a discussion, that's fine. We can do that. I'll be the first one to tell you that, and that we are discussing it now, actually. But I'll be the first one to tell you that the idea of this has gotten convoluted. And at this point, if anybody wants to jump in here, but we've discussed it. It's been talked about as much as possible without an open discussion. I would be in favor of an open discussion, but it's not up to me.
I think what we need to concentrate is there's two different categories. One, let's sell the 7th, 8th sales tax, show what money we can get and how we can fix the streets, and let everybody know the sales tax will be on everything, including utilities. Then, once the sales tax passes, it won't go into effect until January of 2020. This is May, so we can revisit, come up with other solutions. And yes, I want to give the citizens something. They deserve it. But we were given with the left hand, taken with the right hand.
It was originally, I'm the one that originally proposed it, Brian.
So what's wrong with it?
I don't negotiate with a gun in my head.
About what?
It's been
You're out of here now.
I know, I'm asking, as a citizen, because as a member of the utility advisory.
Pressure on, well, you need to do this, you need to do that. It's better just to let it drop at this time and we'll revisit it at a later time.
I think it's fair to say, Brian, that there's no support at the Board of Alderman level tonight for this measure, or maybe for the last few days. I'm sorry, because I think it was a good thing to do for people. It wasn't a big deal. They'd get a few dollars, but it was the idea of it. And you know how I feel, because I've talked to you about it. But there's no support for it.
So there's some other things probably you're not privileged to at this time that
But here's the way I
throw
look
that
at
all down the
it.
drain.
Here's the way I look at it. We called a special utility advisory board meeting and had everybody come out to discuss it. It was passed by the volunteers of the utility advisory board.
I was understood it was not passed.
It was passed 3-2.
Well, there was some question, apparently
There was
half the
no-
people came to that meeting thinking it passed, and the other half came out thinking it did not
But it did
pass.
pass.
Yeah, it passed. Dwayne was obviously in support of it.
And Danny knew that it passed. He, in his minutes, reflected that it passed. I don't think there was any one person that sat there on that committee that thought it didn't pass. Now, there's only a recommendation.
Yeah.
But
Well, I
still,
understand that.
They were split, it was a split vote by the UAB, plus our electric foreman is against it. To me, that's my experts. Yes, they did vote, it was a split vote. I'm not convinced.
And Dave, you were talking about it cost us $85,000 to fix those 2 poles?
Yes.
Okay.
Those first two were about 85,000.
Well, those are the high poles. Those aren't
Yeah.
regular poles.
And isn't that all like 40 years old? Some of those lines, and that's
I
all gonna have to
don't-
be repaired?
I don't think it's that old.
Well, a storm isn't gonna care how old they are.
No.
There's no relevance to what we're talking
I
about
was-
here.
Well, it's just that our reserve could go away in a damn big hurry. It's,
I've been against this from day one. I don't like the way it's written. I think it reminds me of a shell game. I think it's going to be I think it's a benefit to the businesses and that, and I'm for that, but I don't like the way, I think you're going to have a real hard time convincing the average person what you're doing. And like he said, you're taking, you're giving. I mean, I've been against it from day one. You can ask the mayor. I told him,
Yeah.
I said, I don't want
And you can ask these guys, I've been trying
So, I mean,
to
that's
explain.
where I'm at.
The problem that I had was, it's really hard to explain how this works. So we're gonna end up,
Basically, just the way I see it is that you're not going to have an increase in your utility bill because of the sales tax
and
increase.
that's all you can say.
That's it. That's as clear as day.
That's all you can, that's right, that's
I
what
mean,
you
I
can
don't see
say.
how it can get any more complicated
But
than
if
that.
somebody says, how does it work?
Of some sort.
How does it work, then we have a problem.
Well,
there
I'm
might
not-
be a better way to do it. And if we can find it, we'll consider it.
Does anybody else want to talk about it? Because we're
Tammy's
discussing
fine,
it.
She does.
Anybody else that wants to come up and talk about it? Brian, I'm not trying to
No, I don't.
shoo you away.
I was just
You
confused.
just isn't any support. And so when we do that, I can't vote. I can't make a motion. So that's what happens. It's a dead duck now until we maybe want to bring something else up.
Maybe the utility board, as I asked that night, come up with another idea.
It's not our job to come up with ideas on sales tax.
No.
Not talking about
No.
sales tax, but how we can
We were
reduce
presented, what we were presented with
utility.
passed. And you guys went against that, which hardly ever happens. Without
Well, you guys
a
being
really
the
big
utility
explanation. I mean,
experts.
this was a positive thing, and it was turned into a negative thing.
Okay, anyhow.
I'm
I
just,
think there were people in favor and people not in favor, and the people in favor won. And all I know is we need new streets, and I think that's what we should focus on. I got a blown out tire tonight because our streets are so crappy, and that's how it is.
Jim
By your
Blow.
house.
It's by your house.
In front of your
so
house.
You wanna go fix it?
I can't understand.
Anyway, I-
Sidewalk or something.
Move on.
What can I say?
okay.
I mean,
Thanks for your comments.
I talked to everybody and I thought it was a good idea, but the people that make those decisions had concerns. And there are concerns about it. How do we explain it? What do we talk about? And they make some sense. And we're only talking about a few dollars, so there wasn't anything, this was what this group has put together to vote on, things like this, and they did. I'm sorry, it turned out that way. Anybody else? Okay. Motions. The minutes.
Move to approve.
We have a motion made and seconded to approve the minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion's carried. Invoices for payment.
Motion to pay the bills.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded to pay the bills. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Appoint Lindsay Engelman to the Park Board to fill the unexpired term of Leslie Horson.
I make a motion to approve Lindsay Engelman.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Approved. Conditional use permit renewal, Alex Stimmy, Concert Hall and Barrel, outdoor liquor consumption, 206 East First Street. Now, I must say here on this one, that all the paperwork is in order and it's been filed and everything's paid and all, so.
They have license, they're paid up on taxes, and
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve them.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion's carried. Municipal Corporation quitclaim deed, Monica Percy Phillips, the west 30 feet of Lot 57 and Lot 59 East 11th Street. Let me explain, or Trish, you can. This is one of those housekeeping things where we had a difference of recorded meets and calls or something, and we're trying to make our records jive with theirs.
Right, the chain of title, when we went to do a title search, they couldn't find the very original from the 1800s when the city granted it to the first owner, so that's all that is.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. Special event application, Midwest Cyclo Touring, LLC, indoor-outdoor camping.
No, go ahead.
You're gonna have to table this. The park board, you don't have a quorum. The gentleman made a presentation, so there was not enough there to approve that particular thing.
We'll table that until the park
Until
board.
they're gonna talk about it at the June meeting, and he was okay with that.
Okay. Thank you.
Just for, since we took a class on this, that tabling is the wrong word you postponed.
Okay. Postpone it?
Yeah.
That's-
That's what the man said when we were down there.
Well, we'll try,
I stand corrected.
make sure we use the right term.
paid attention.
Well, I believe we're on G, special event application, municipal band summer concerts amphitheater, May 27th, July 4th, and August 4th, 2019.
I make a motion to approve and encourage everybody to go on May 27th and listen to them.
Second.
Have a motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. Special event application, Herman Arts Council, Steve Leslie Concert, Amphitheater, July 3rd, 2019.
Make a motion, we approve.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. Special event application, Boy Scout Troop 116, food and first aid station for Mo 340 canoe race, Riverfront Pavilion and Park and Pavilion, July 17 through 19, 2019.
Move to approve.
Second.
We're not fast enough, Jim. She got in there. Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
He's only got 3 tires.
Yeah. Special event application, Missouri Department of Conservation, CWD sampling location, swimming pool parking lot, November 16 and 17, 2019.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. Amend special event application, Perseverance Foundation, request to reserve additional parking spaces for food trucks on south side of 4th Street near amphitheater entrance, June 22nd, 2019.
We've got a second, so. amendment to that, Paul?
Oh, is that the one?
That lady, the organizer of the event, just came in today with that requested amendment as well.
Petting
And
zoo.
I'm sorry?
The petting zoo.
Yeah, and they're asking if it could be in that green area behind the amphitheater along the creek on Fifth Street,
On the south side?
on the south side.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
This is gonna be fish petting?
Yes, it will be. And you'll
Oh,
have to have an octagon,
maybe.
or whatever they call it now.
That's for the same date?
Yeah, the
Looks
same
like,
dates. I would assume.
Yes, it's for
Be
the,
done by then,
I would.
second day of summer.
Okay, with that amendment, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second down here? Motion's made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion's carried. Special event application, Herman Area District Hospital, Firecracker 5K, Walk Run, Riverfront Park, and various city streets and sidewalks, July 4th, 2019, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Motion for that one.
So moved. Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion's carried. There being no reports or boards or commission reports, we now stand ready to move into closed session. I need a motion, a second, and then a voice vote.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
Can you read the verbiage?
Oh, yes, I sure can. Hold a closed session, a closed meeting for the purpose of dealing with matters relating to legal actions, cause of action, litigation, or privileged communications between the city's representatives and its attorneys, section 610.0211 revised statutes of Missouri.
Second.
We have a motion made and seconded. I need a vote down here.
Aye.
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 We're in closed session. Thank you very much.